Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep, and this is finally one of those times. Today we're here to discuss something that I've been alluding to for the past 2+ months. Episode 100. We left off on episode 99, getting to know a little bit more about me, David Cameo, what I do at work, how that work relates to The Walking Dead sometimes, but also everything in between. My ethos, who I am as a person. But we kind of just dropped off. A couple videos here and there for TWD Universe's Ultimate Fan, which we did cover. We had to redraw the TWD Family's Ultimate members twice, the top spot twice, because one of the contestants didn't get back to me. And that's where we left off. We really didn't have any content from here to there. We have been having a lot of live watches and Jackbox Party Pack game playing on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/SQUAWKING In case you're interested, we do that every Wednesday, and we will be doing it after this stream. We'll be cutting off, and I'll be starting it up again on Twitch, and we'll be playing Jackbox games. So hang in there. If you're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc., pop onto our Twitch channel afterwards. Give us a follow. Make sure notifications are enabled. And speaking of Twitch, I just saw that TWD Universe on Twitch just went live. It's the bane of my frustration, and I'll tell you why. I think they're an awesome channel, and they do things that we're just not able to do, which is go just live stream, have this programming available where they can talk about the Walking Dead universe as a whole on a daily basis almost. And I am jealous. I will admit it. I am jealous. But if you're in the business of actually getting in the know and being involved in the communities, because it is very engaging and community-based, hit them up. They are at twitch.tv/TWD Universe, I believe, or TWDU. Check that out. Follow them. Get notifications. Pop on there. You'll see a whole bunch of TWD family there that you may be familiar with. Guys. So, again, going back to episode 100, what we decided to do, and what most coffee backers knew about way ahead of time, because we had been discussing our development stages, we figured out how we were going to do it, what we wanted to do, and we even shared our progress as we went along. What we decided to do was a retrospective. Most of our back catalog does not have a corresponding clip. So what we did was we all just, and I'll explain it explains it more in the video, but we all got together. We decided who was covering what episodes, meaning scouring through our back catalogs, deciding on what we were going to clipping it up. Oh, I was the one who ended up clipping it up, but putting a backing video onto it, some visuals, thumbnails, descriptions, etc. And then we were going to sit down and cover every season that Squawking Dead has covered since we started back in 2017, when we covered The Walking Dead Season 8, which we will be premiering today. It's actually a relatively short video. In 3 hours of coverage, we whittled it down to an hour. So I think that's amazing, and the episode came out great. But I will say, the stuff that's left on the cutting room floor is miles and miles. Like, usually when I say, buy us a coffee, you'll get the unedited footage. This is one of those times where, not just for chuckles and hugs, do I recommend you buy us a coffee and get that unedited footage. I highly recommend getting it, because we all left a lot of insights on the cutting room floor, some of our opinions, and also chuckles and hugs, sure. All the technical difficulties. You even get to see a little bit of Just Keep Walking podcast, whom we've been regularly conversing with, and we even did our last video with them on Instagram Live. I cut it up, I shared it onto our YouTube, so that was basically our last video of content since we were last on. And you should definitely check out the video. It's just after episode 99. It is marked as a special, but I think it's maybe an interview. But anyway, we talk about the latest news that was revealed about the Tales of the Walking Dead, but mostly the Carol and Daryl spinoff. But as all conversations start, we talked about favorite episodes, things like that, and it was a really good conversation. So you'll get to see Ben from Just Keep Walking podcast on the unedited footage. He had to actually go because we're having so many technical difficulties after an hour or 40 minutes or so of us trying to get everybody together and available in the recording. So, but aside from all that, a lot of insights left on the cutting room floor that you can get right now. It's available on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Buy us a coffee, you get 30 days of access. It costs less than a cup of coffee. The link is actually right here, just to your left. If you happen to buy us a coffee during the stream, the message along with your coffee buy will pop up during this premiere right here of episode 100 part 1. And if you do subscribe to a coffee a month or more, if you feel like it, you will continue to receive behind the scenes footage, bonus content, exclusive development ideas that we've been having. We are actually in the process of doing something very early that I haven't even shared with my co-hosts that I developed with Blazy Gardner, aka Sharondy. We'll be revealing that soon there as well. So I know this is a long preamble and I'm going to get to the video, but I thank you for waiting as long as you have, for your patience. I thank you for tuning in right now. I really appreciate it. I see Pivy. I see my co-host, Rachael Burt, CosmoMom09. I see Riley Grissom. Thank you. I'm a big fan. Love the show. Yeah. Well, yeah. There you go. I can never... it's Pivy. Pivy's here too. Blazy Gardner's on Twitch. It's saying she's going to be home soon. Which means she's gearing up to play Jackbox games. Robbie is here. Nisa's on Instagram. I see all of you. Just say hi. And just so you know, as the episode airs, I'll be with you in the chat discussing all the things that we did keep in the edit, of which is mostly relevant to the clip itself and is concise. It's a little bit reaction, a little bit of insight, and a little bit of everything here and there. But without further ado, I think it's time. Enjoy this video. I cannot wait to rip into parts 2 through 5 for you. This will be covering Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, The Walking Dead Season 9, Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, and, of course, this recently aired... well, not episode 16 because we don't have the clip yet because we haven't recorded yet. That we'll be doing tomorrow night, but The Walking Dead Season 10. So without further ado, here is the video. I can't wait to hit you guys up in the chat, and we'll talk soon. And we'll talk soon. What we're planning on doing here today, at least, is we picked the best clip from our episodes from The Walking Dead Season 8 with the help of CosmoMom09, Rachael Burt, with her help, Carol, my brother, big props to Isaac Cameo. We actually picked the best clips from all of our episodes up until episode 99. Some of our episodes deserved more than one clip, which adds to my personal frustration as we're uploading all these episodes on YouTube for our super secret, unlisted Squawking Dead Clips playlist. The only way to access that playlist is to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. What is that? Well, it's a means to support us, but it's also a way, if you don't support us, to actually follow on any key things that we're doing on the podcast. So if we have a giveaway, or if we do a live watch, or if we do Jackbox games, if you don't happen to have notifications turned on Twitter or Instagram, you can always follow us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. A one-time coffee gets you 30 days of access, but if you subscribe to a coffee a month, the party keeps on rolling. And if you happen to buy us a coffee during the stream, your support will show on the screen as the episode airs. And by the way, I've been saying her name. Nisa's on with us as well on audio because she taped up her camera a long time ago and it does not work. Alright, so we're going to watch this first clip. This is the very first Squawking Dead episode. So this is the clip we chose. Oh, actually Rachel chose.
and we're going to talk about it.
If you want to get technical.
What the kingdom? They have like pigs. They were like harvesting pigs for the saviors. So there are animals out there.
Those were and if you remember, those pigs were eating on zombie flesh. So we still never see. Here's the thing: like you ever notice on a show how they'll do something will happen, and you don't hear about it again, and then all of a sudden, a season and a half later, it kind of comes up again. I feel like that's one of those things where they fed the pig zombie.
It never was
zombie flesh, and they kept selling it to Negan.
Nothing happened.
The whole Negan. What are they called again? The saviors, right?
Yeah, and they kind of.
I blank out on the word the saviors.
Oh yeah, they're nice and full. But I'm still
on the same episode though. But we never hear about it again.
No. I'm still waiting for Heath and what's his name, Dwight's woman Sherry to reappear. People just don't disappear on this show. This doesn't happen.
Was Heath the dude that
Tara. The one that was with Tara on the mission, and they got separated on the bridge.
On the mission.
Oh, but I don't think. Do you?
But they left a note card that said like PP or whatever. So then that's gonna come up somewhere. I don't know when, but it's coming up. I think.
See, that's like another thing we've kind of forgot about. If you think about it, really.
Yeah.
Like really think about it. It's like, oh crap, did we forget this much? Because I don't even think Talking Dead really kind of brought that up. I mean, I think there was an assumption that he was not coming back, but.
But then the thing is that with that note card, they said that only Robert Kirkman knows what it means because, of course, he's like a holder of all this information. He's like the safe that holds all this information, whatever it means.
And maybe he's one of those characters, kind of like that comes out of nowhere and sees how far they've changed. We've seen this like every now and again. Like, dude, you guys are weird. What are you guys doing? Like, why are you so aggressive or whatever, something like that. But yeah, that could be one of those.
We still don't know where Heath is. We still don't know the meaning behind the card. There's still
PPP never came back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not yet.
not yet.
Maybe we'll see it on World Beyond.
That's the thing. Like, okay, we're like still talking about Heath coming back to the show. We keep assuming he's coming back to the show or the movie now. It's like, at what point do we like take our tinfoil hats off and say he's never coming back? Or unless like Gimple's having the funnest time trolling us.
Well, he's definitely having the funnest time trolling us, but I still think we're gonna see Heath again. Maybe in the movie. Jade is probably traded him.
I feel like Heath is one of those characters that they just sort of keep it in their back pocket. Like, we don't know what happened to him, but he's a player out there. If they want to use him or need to use him to push the story along, they still can.
I feel like it doesn't even matter, because at what point do you go, I just keep them guessing? And I think either Gimple or somebody else said, oh yeah, he's definitely coming back. Now I'm thinking, yeah? Maybe you're just lying to us.
Maybe they had plans to. Maybe they had, at one point, had planned to bring him back, and then it didn't happen.
The bigger thing is that, like, after all, like, feeding the pigs zombie flesh, like, there was no payoff. You could literally eat zombie flesh and not turn into a zombie or get sick or whatever it is, but if the zombie blood gets in your bloodstream...
Well, zombie flesh would be necrotic flesh, and you would get sick from that. So I wouldn't suggest eating dead flesh.
Right,
but you can eat a pig who's eaten a zombie. I see your point. Yes,
because pigs can eat anything. Yeah, I remember at the time I was like, and this is obviously season 7. I was like, oh, this is definitely going to be something. Like, this is going to be like a Bob tainted meat, sort of thing. I
also thought it would come to something.
So why bother showing us that? Right? I mean, unless it's just to illustrate, that's how we get our pigs fat, and there's no consequence, and that's fine.
Just to keep us guessing. I mean, they got to throw stuff in there that doesn't mean anything. That way we sit here and go, it's got to mean something, and they're like, nah.
I think that was exactly the purpose. I mean, we were just like, oh my god, they're all gonna get sick.
Fell for it.
They squeezed in so much over the course of season 7, season 8. The efficiencies of season 9 and season 10 illustrated all the stuff that was probably cut out that could have stayed in, and then all the stuff that could have been like cut out that was left in.
I remember on Talking Dead, someone asking a question that it was related to this, which is sometimes they just show us things to answer the questions that the fans are always asking, such as if you eat a pig that was fed walker flesh, do you get sick?
Right.
The answer is no. So maybe the purpose wasn't just a troll.
Well, so moving on, though, the one thing out of this clip that's very interesting, besides us being funny, right? Obviously, our first episode. is Sherry after 3 years. Because literally, it's gonna be Fear the Walking Dead season 6, so it's not even on the same show.
It's interesting because they're on this top floor. I don't know what, because Negan has a hierarchy with how he does things, and we've seen like Eugene's room, and we've seen like Dwight's room and whatever that are like they're fine, they're okay, whatever. But these rooms here looks very like, because the one room that Rick opens up looks like a very comfortable, nice room. It's got a bed and like, so it was kind of interesting because it's like, I wonder like, what's the purpose of this floor? Is it just random saviors live on this floor? Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, what we
are you asking me?
I don't like. I'm thinking out loud. I'm trying to figure it out. And obviously, what ends up happening is Rick gets into this big, dragged out fight with this other savior that doesn't end well.
Which, by the way, I just had a Reddit conversation with somebody who brought that up. That fight between Rick and that savior was really well choreographed. Like, up to the point where there was like a John Wick moment where Rick picks up the gun, the savior kicks it away as he shoots the gun. When you actually see why he was fighting so vociferously, it actually makes sense, and it was really well done.
That doesn't end well.
What I'm assuming is Baby Daddy, so that's how I'm going to refer to him.
Yes. Basically, yeah, and he had a tattoo on his chest over his heart that said,
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it said, "Grace be God."
Holy mackerel.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Wow. Okay.
And then,
well, I did not notice that.
Yeah, he had a tattoo. And then he opens the door, and you see a nursery, basically, and
Gracie.
And with a baby named Gracie, and Rick has a crisis. You can definitely tell that he is very torn up over what he did, because the guy wasn't protecting any ammo or guns or anything like that. He was just protecting his kid,
and he was protecting that kid's life. And that's the crazy.
Yeah.
And you're there. You were there. You were just there watching this fight. You're on Rick's team. You really. It just breaks your soul.
Yeah,
you're right there with him.
That moment, I was like, oh God, it's like, jeez. That scene reminded me of when Negan came to Alexandria with Carl after Carl showed up at his house, basically causing the fracas, and Negan brings them back, and he's like scoping out, their house, and opens the door, and there's Judith. On the savior side, yeah, there are people too, and they've got kids, and they're just kind of getting by. They're just trying to find whatever the safest route is for them to take in order to kind of keep their, family safe, and that's all this guy was doing, basically.
And you know what? Have you ever thought about Rick's team being the U.S. and Negan's team being Russia? The comparisons are quite obvious, but
yeah.
It's the way you said, they have children too, and it brought me to Sting's song.
Oh yeah, that sings. Yes. God, that was a good song.
I hope the Russians love their children too.
The Russians love their children.
This is the U.S. versus Russia. Like, for real, yo. I mean, they have children. It wouldn't occur to you.
No,
because
if
you think about it, humanize your enemy.
Right.
That they have children, that they reproduce, that they love them.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and that's Rick, who, ironically, the sheriff, if you're talking about U.S. versus Russia. He is. He's gun-toting sheriff. I think that he doesn't look at the saviors as humans. He just looks at them as the enemy, and they have to be eliminated. And he doesn't think about any of these facts, that they could be family men, that they could be fathers, they could be husbands, they could be brothers, sisters, whatever. But these are people too. They just happen to fall on a different side of the battle.
I was just really laughing about the Russian thing. Oh yeah, Russians have babies too. They're human.
It was one of those scenes where you thought it was going to amount to something, and then it just kind of doesn't.
Right.
I think we're going to start to see some of, not major characters, but some of the more prevalent characters start to kind of fall away. I think it's going to start to happen, not necessarily obviously with your A-level characters.
But you're thinking Jerry is what you're saying.
I hope to God not, because I will be livid if that happens. I don't think that he's being killed off yet. I think that he will be killed off this season, but not necessarily in this battle. I think.
Wow, that would be rough. But I did notice that he wasn't part of the Protect the King crew. Wow, the special effects on that were very bloody.
Yeah.
Those are heavy weapons.
I know.
It was far away too, if you notice. It was that accurate.
Yeah, they were off. But the thing is that it looked like they were stationed kind of like in a tower. right? So they kind of had a nice vantage point, and they were kind of in an open field too. I mean, they were just sort of like it's just exposed for the most part, not really hiding. So it's like they basically kind of had a clear shot and were waiting for them. So
oh man, let's keep an open mind here. I'm sure that there's a nice tiny handful of people that are for sure dead. I think it's not going to be as bad as we think it is. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. Let's make no mistake. It's bad, but I think there's still a chance.
But I think that this is going to be the point that it's going to kind of
turn.
I think that this is where the tide's going to turn a little bit, because I mean, it is going to be an ebb and flow. I mean, I said this from the beginning. This is a war, so there's going to be battles, and there's going to be some kind of movement where you're going to go forward, and then you're going to have to retreat, and there's going to be this sort of back and forth, and this is going to be basically the savior's point to kind of push back a little bit. There is going to be this back and forth, I'm sure, and here is where it's happening. It seems.
Yeah,
it's still the same thing to this moment. Like every time there is a battle or anything, it's please not Jerry, Jerry, don't
Jerry's
kill him.
pure.
Yeah, he's like, he has to survive. If he dies, we riot.
Would you not say that Carol is probably the best put together person on The Walking Dead right now? Oddly enough.
Absolutely. I think that she's come light years. She's been a fixture on the shows, also like Daryl and Rick from Morgan from the beginning. But I think that we've seen so much development from her, and a struggle between being this battered housewife and surviving just to survive, and then coming into her own and finding her strength after her daughter Sophia was killed and became a walker, and then just everything that she went through, and she's evolved, and she got to a peak where she didn't care about anything other than just pure survival, killing anything in her path, and then becoming a pacifist where she didn't want to kill at all. What it boils down to is picking and choosing your battles. Nobody's saying that you have to be a one-woman wrecking machine and just killing everything in your path, but when needed, you are able to defend those that need to be defended. And so I think that she definitely is probably the most developed character on the show. By far.
Oh, God. It hadn't occurred to me until we started talking about it, and I started to reflect on previous Squawking Dead episodes. Here's a follow-up question.
Three Squawking Dead episodes.
Do not say that the show is about Carol.
Gosh. Oh, my God. I'm always trying to figure out what this show is about. I'm always like, who's this show really about? It's not really about Rick, is it? It's about somebody else. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. That would be very interesting, though. I think it would be very interesting if the show was ultimately about Carol. She is the last survivor. I
have this idea for a segment, Carol. Hear me out. Okay. Who does Carol think the show is about this week?
And every week it changes based on what's going on.
There's like a needle and a meter, and then it just hits like the Wheel of Fortune of who the show's about.
Yes, like a barometer, basically.
Right, exactly.
This is finding our legs.
Well, I mean, given the news about the Carol Daryl spinoff, I guess it kind of is about Carol.
Exactly. So we looped back around to her and Daryl, obviously. Obviously, the fan favorite.
Yes, Carol's my favorite character, and I do agree that she probably has one of the most developed backstories and character development throughout. I thought it was a good clip to include, given everything that's going on right now. Kind of have that comparison from, the attitude towards Carol then versus what's going on now.
We still don't know where Morgan is. Morgan left.
Yeah.
And he's just...
I'm convinced.
Before the rumors about Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, he might. He might not come back until some moment where he needs to jump in and save the day. And
maybe self-sacrifice too. Who knows?
I could see that.
They would do it in a way that's kind of poetic. If you think about it, like in the way that he says he can't die, there has to be some sort of written way, story-wise, where he can die, but only in such and such circumstance. And that would be kind of cool because, technically he can't die, but he can kill himself or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I would definitely see that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. So,
and he's been there for so long. He's such a pivotal character that I wouldn't be surprised. I would think that they would do his character justice for sure, and kind of give him like a noble, like you said, poetic
show. What?
Yeah, I mean, literally the first episode. If you remember, Yeah. So that's. Yeah, I'm way more invested. Just remembering the fact that he's been there literally from the beginning, and
beginning, since day one.
Yeah, wow.
It's like, I mean, it's kind of like the Glenn situation. It's like you got to give those kind of characters a very pronounced send-off. If you're going to send them off, it needs to be done in a certain way. It can't just be sort of like, that's why the whole Glenn dying in the dumpster thing was just not at all realistic. It's like, no, you can't just like kill off a main character like that, like such a big main character in such a sort of nonchalant sort of way.
Oh man, but we all
I know.
all fell for it.
I know.
And we would be all like, oh, it makes sense. They do this to us all the time.
Right, exactly. Like I literally remember sitting in the basement of like our house and like me and like my husband Eddie like sitting there and just kind of watching it like kind of in disbelief. Like, did that just happen? Like, wait, like, did that just really happen? It's like, no, yes, no, wait, I don't know.
Wait, I don't know. They're talking about wait, it could be. Oh no, what? No.
I was like, but they didn't do an in memoriam for him.
They did.
They did, and then they did like a rewind the next week or something. I don't remember.
They did it in memoriam.
They did play it off like they did, like he did, if I remember right. I don't think it's a question mark. I'm gonna rewatch that, but yeah.
Yeah, they like to play with our emotions.
And rightly so. I mean, that was a good move. It was good enough that people could accept it.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't want to. They was like, oh, okay.
I guess this happened.
I don't want to watch this show anymore, but I do.
Yeah. They were like, I guess this happened. And then it was like, no, he's alive.
Wait. Oh, man.
This is like right before they announced, oh, Morgan's leaving The Walking Dead and going to Fear the Walking Dead.
After going back and listening to the seasons, you guys actually were very prescient about a whole lot of things, so I'm not surprised.
Not a death, but a send-off.
Could there potentially be a mole? And could that mole potentially be Enid? I know that some people don't trust her and like think that maybe she potentially could be some sort of factor in it. I don't know because Enid's not... she's not a very prevalent character. She's always there. And she's always
there.
Shifty, but never could totally... Not shifty in the sense of maliciousness, but she's just looking out. She's kind of like the garbage people. She's just looking for... to survive, JSS, JSS. So I wonder if that is a possibility. I don't know.
Oh, man. Yeah, because you could go down this rabbit hole. It's a good rabbit hole to go down. Jeepers, creepers. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes me think that may not be the case is the affinity for Glenn and how much she attached herself to him.
That's true. That is true.
Death must have rocked her, too.
Yes. And it seemed like it did. Yeah, I think it did because she went over to the hilltop to visit his grave and all of that. So you're right. I don't...
No, but more twisted things have happened on the show. I mean, I'm definitely not discarding this idea because... Mm-hmm. But I do... man. She insisted going with Aaron, too. That brings me back to your idea.
She's going with Aaron. She must be a traitor.
The thing with killing the right person is to make everybody else fall in line. Kind of put this fear in people of like, this is how terrible of a thing I can do, and everybody immediately kind of falls in line. In the case of Rick's people, they're not falling in line. They're pushing back. But maybe it has the reverse effect on Enid. She is young. She was very much rocked by it. That maybe she is rocked by it to the point of being like, I don't want to relive that. I do not want to relive that situation. I do not want to see anybody else get hurt on my part. Maybe. I don't know. But
she has been resistant to optimism, too.
Yes.
Any form of it. Which is why she runs away a lot. Why she puts herself in danger, prefers to be alone.
I always had a distrust for Enid. I always thought something's not right about this girl. Honestly, up until I saw her head on the spike, I just
really
thought, yes. Until that the fact that she was dating Alden, who was an ex-savior. I mean, everything she did. I thought,
Wow! Up until the day her head went on a stick.
And she gave me no reason to distrust her, but I did for some reason.
Well, we have to talk about our thoughts on the helicopter that magically has not shown up again.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. Let's take a break to talk about that because where did that come from if it wasn't from the junkyard, right?
I don't know. I do not know. I feel like it has to come up in the mid-season finale. You can't just show a black helicopter overhead and then it's like, okay, we're not talking about it anymore until later. You can't do that.
I like that you reminded me of that. That's because I kind of forgot about it in all the hubbub and I assumed that it was the junkyard gang, but I didn't really. I like calling them that, by the way. But yeah, It's a softer tone, you know. It's like trash hipsters. I called them the dumpsters for a while in my head because I didn't say it out loud. And I was just like, the junkyard gang. They're a groovy bunch of people who really annoy me. But yeah, you're right. It's probably a very important thing to bring up because they're out there somewhere, and Heath is out there somewhere.
Yeah. They're all out there somewhere in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. So, they did mention a flyer. So I'm not really.
So I wonder if that's what that means. I don't know if that's what it is. It's like if they have access to a helicopter. That's so strange. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it could be something that's controlled by the saviors, and they'll use it if necessary to basically rain down on unsuspecting enemies, but. I don't know. It's just like that helicopter has to come up.
Yeah. Well, it could be a group that we're entirely unaware of too.
That would be crazy.
You know, and the Sabres seem to have a hold on them as well. And maybe it's one of those situations where they don't want to have to use it unless they really, because then they feel like they owe them. Maybe this group is on shaky ground with them. It's the only thing I could really think of.
Yeah.
It really just reminded me that thing exists. And it's obviously something we haven't seen on the grounds. We haven't seen it at any of the stations. Mm-hmm. So it's out there. And wherever it came from, it did not come from any of those satellite stations, did not come from the sanctuary. No, so it's worth kind of thinking of, at least for a little bit, like knowing that it's there and it's out there and it could actually do some damage.
Yeah,
or it could be an entirely third party, and we don't know.
God, it's so nuts.
But yeah,
entirely third party.
Can I tell you a side tangent what I want that helicopter to be? Like it would be more suitable for the end of the show, because I'm always with my eye on the prize.
Oh?
How is this thing going to end? In my mind,
the end of the show, period. The series finale.
Yes, exactly. In my mind, I would love for that black helicopter to be filled with soldiers from another country altogether, like not from the continent of like the Americas at all. Like, I would love it to be a situation in my mind. Mm-hmm. I would love to find out that this whole zombie epidemic has only affected like the U.S., Canada, like neighboring countries, but other countries have not, and we've all been quarantined. Wow, that's what I want.
Like a chemical assault?
Maybe, I don't know. Like, I just want to see that like it's just us. Other parts of the world are living just fine.
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing. I know you haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead, but I do know that at least part of the hemisphere, the United States, but you've got Mexico, you've got South America, you've got, I don't know about Canada, but they do mention, because they are on the ocean for a little while, so they're trying to get radio waves on what's happening around the world, or not around the world, but around their vicinity. So you do know that at least the West, the western part of the hemisphere has been affected. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I do know that it has affected more than just the United States or North America, let's just say.
Right. Because in my mind, I mean, because the reason that I thought
I do love your theory. I do think I don't think that's where it would end, though. In my mind, I'd be like, no, I want to know more now.
No, it would be an intriguing possibility of like, where do you go now? Like, that's the thing. I find it
Tales of the Walking Dead.
The whole zombie lore of this show is the idea of like everybody's infected. Every single person is infected. Yeah, what turns you, doesn't matter whether you're bit or not. As soon as you pass away, it's like you will turn. It gives off the impression that it's some sort of like, I mean, they've never gone into it, obviously, but almost like some sort of government vaccine or something, because for everybody to have it already in them, it's almost as if something that's administered for everyone to have that in them, which isn't necessarily the case in all countries. That's things specific to certain regions and certain areas and certain countries. It wouldn't be, everywhere. So for that reason, it's like, I feel like it would be so jarring for like to see a helicopter with just normal people, just normal soldiers, just because other parts of the country have been living just fine, because the U.S. has just gone off their rocker, not trying to get political or anything. But again,
are you not?
No, not at all. Not at all.
We know where your allegiances are, and it's not with America, Carol. In a zombie movie, you can do that, because there's like a certain like humor to it in a way, like, oh, you guys are running in this maze, this weird geographical border maze of like, it's only you guys, and you guys are killing yourselves because you're all zombies. We're totally fine in Belgium.
Everyone's screwed everywhere, because Jenner was trying to contact people and wasn't getting any answers. The French were the last.
Sorry, France. It's not you. You people are great. Your government. Ugh. Not to get political. No.
Question though, and something that we haven't seen thus far, but since before season 8 started, I've been wondering, we haven't seen snow, and I know that they're in Virginia, right, or like in the DC area, or just a little below.
It snows. It snows. I've been in Virginia when it snows.
Yeah, me too, or at least pass through. But I know that, and I think this would be an interesting opportunity to kind of exploit that, because before they were kind of in Georgia, and Georgia, I mean, like just like Florida gets fair weather throughout the year, or sweltering humid weather. Right. But in the winter, it's kind of fair, not too bad, but no snow. And I mean, this could be a unique opportunity to kind of like say, okay, long game, we could do a Game of Thrones, and winter is coming. Yeah. So for scavenging, it's bad. For farming, there's a season. It's not looking very good on the resources front. I mean, they've got to kind of stockpile things to a certain extent. So I don't really know how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Maybe they've been keeping it to the vest, sneaking winter in at some point.
That would be very interesting. It'd be jarring
as a theme, like because we haven't seen it. We haven't had to experience it yet. So it's different from like year-round farming where you could just turn the crop down in the south. Okay, this half of the year we're planting.
Of course, I think cotton.
The other half of the year we're planting
food,
or like wheat or corn or something.
Right.
Different parts of the year yield different crops, right? So but like with Virginia, I mean, look, it's temperate. I mean, somewhat temperate at least. So.
No, it is. It's definitely temperate because they definitely get their share of winters.
They have to do that this year. It's got to happen this mid-season, the rest of the mid-season.
Even if
it's the last episode. Yeah.
The last episode, the very last episode of like the whole series.
They start to see at the end scene, and it's like, oh crap, this is the bigger enemy. Snow is the bigger enemy.
The biggest, if it's the last of the entire series. Carol, you just trolling me like Gimple? One episode had snow. It's like every episode of our season 8 coverage. So where's snow? Where is it? I want it now. Please give me snow.
I mean, that's a lot of money. They gotta manufacture that shit.
Well, now we know. Like I didn't
know they had to make snow.
I wanted free shit. Like all the kids, they want free shit. They're like, I want snow. No, give me the snow.
Shit's expensive.
Wait, what's a snow machine? What? Come on.
I never asked for anything. I just want some snow.
That's like the only thing I wanted. Oh, you don't bring Glenn back. It's fine. Give me snow.
Give me snow.
Winter comes. We're all gone. But that makes me think of all the other winters, though. Like, what happened?
The trailer that they show is Simon and the Negans, I guess, talking about, what are they going to do with the garbage people? And Simon's very much like, yep, we got to show up, and just, it uses up a lot of ammo, but, we're better off that way. Basically, like, let's go in and kill them all. And Negan gives them a very stern talking to about, again, how people are resourced, how people are resourced, and that's not how we do things. He's like, you will go in, you will take one out and the rest will fall in line. And he gives them this very stern look and he tells them just one, Simon, which makes me think, again, that Simon's going to take matters into his own hands. He's not going to listen. He's going to kill all the junkyard people. And that would coincide with the trailer that they showed for this half of the season, where they showed Jadis kind of like all crestfallen and sad, sitting like stripped of her like garments and stuff.
Oh, and not for fun.
And not for fun this time. Yeah, exactly. So I think that Simon goes in with a show of force, doesn't listen to Negan, disregards his order, and basically, decides to just kill the junkyard people and, keep Jadis alive to suffer, I guess.
Wow. And which is the exact opposite of what they're kind of scripted or supposed to do.
Because that is Negan's way. Negan does not believe in mass killing. If you think about it, throughout everything that we've seen of Negan, he has always made a point of like, you kill one person to make an example, whether when it was with Sasha and she was like captured, same thing. Actually, like that situation with Sasha, he could have killed her right then and there, and he did not, because he felt like she could be productive and useful to them. So he did not do that. Right. He basically said that, he would have to punish somebody from Alexandria for, trying to rebel. He had no intention of hurting her. I mean, hell, if when one of his guys tried to rape her, he killed him.
Right.
Rapey Davey. Exactly.
Right through the neck.
So Negan has a very strict ethos that is not necessarily something that everybody understands, and there are some things that are off limits. Arbitrarily just killing people for the sake of killing people, no, because people are a resource. Women and children.
Yeah. And there's a strategy too, by the way.
Women and children, off limits. They were protecting baby Gracie. He had like a whole nursery for this child. Like even when, they came and confronted Carl in the gate, and Carl was like, oh, there's women and children in here. He's like, there are women and children in the sanctuary too. We had a little baby girl. What happened to her? So
bitch.
I don't think that Simon thinks that way. I think Simon's just a sociopath that just gets drunk off power and really does not care. So I understand Negan, and I think he's a complex character, which is why I say he's an interesting character. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Sunday because I think we're going to see more of that kind of complexity, and I think we're going to see more that a lot of the problems are coming more from his troops, I should say. His ranks. It's coming more from his ranks rather than from him.
So we predicted that. Later on in the episode, actually in that next episode, when we find out that actually happened, we were like, oh, and now Oceanside, who was responsible for that? And then later on in season 9, they reveal, Simon came in, killed my little brother, but also killed all the men to make a point, to make Simon's point.
Now, there's one thing I want to link up, and it's something that I don't think a lot of people noticed, and it's that blue paint kind of has this
reoccurring theme. Yeah.
It's the handprint.
Yes.
And then also the boot prints and Rick and Simon stepping into the blue paint, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the significance of that is, because it's a specific color.
To blue. There is a possibility that that perhaps that will be the thing that leads Negan to kind of figure out what happened at the junkyard. He might go to the junkyard, or another crew of his might go to the junkyard and see that obviously all these people are dead, and he might try to piece together what happened here. And
there's not a lot of evidence left.
No, there's clearly.
I just want to point that out.
There's clearly not a lot of evidence left. God, that was disgusting. Yeah. But this blue paint that was spilled and that got on Simon's boots could be the telltale sign. I mean, it also got on Rick's boots, which might be a point of who exactly did this. Was this a Rick move? Was this a Simon move? Like, who necessarily did that? But blue paint, I think, might play a role in trying to figure out what exactly happened here as like a clue, potentially. They did make a point to show both men getting this blue paint on their shoes.
I was thinking more along the lines of, what were the writers thinking by tying in this blue paint? You know what I mean? Like, first the handprints, then the painting, let's say, or even
sometimes
the painting.
They just like to mess with us.
Is it?
It's true. It's true. I mean, they do certain things sometimes that, what does this mean? And it's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. The letter A has been used numerous times on the show. Like, there was an A on I think with one of the Garbage People's trailer, there was an A, and when they were in that trailer and Terminus, you start to think like, oh, does this mean something? No.
I mean, the closest I got to thinking of something was, okay, if you remember the colors for the kingdom, Alexandria. I mean, I think the kingdom was green, Alexandria was white.
Okay, yeah. The bands.
And Hilltop was red or something, or I might be completely mixing it up. But then you have blue, and what does blue mean? I mean, could blue mean this new way of life? Yeah. That sort of thing. And I'm wondering. Enid I think he's wearing a blue shirt too. So I'm just wondering what that means. Is this kind of like, are we signaling to the viewer in a kind of a set design way, not who the good guys are, but like, is this innocence? Is this the new path? Is this like kind of like a new way of looking at things, like introducing this color, let's say? I don't know. And the color is the same too, the one of Judith and Carl's handprints and the color that was next to the painting. It's the same exact color. So it just makes me wonder.
So I actually had a conversation with this guy on Instagram, Walking Dead SS. Occasionally he's been posting these observations too, and I'm really loving it. And like, we had like a back and forth about it, and like we finally settled on the fact that like the blue paint is like the innocence, and the guys stomping on it like really signify the innocence of like possibly the heapsters. But then like we go a little bit further, and I actually say, but maybe it's something else. Maybe it's like blue is like death, like represents death, and that death is coming, like a sign, like an omen. And so both Carl, and Judith obviously have their handprints in blue paint. Same thing with Jadis. She doesn't die, and Judith don't die, but maybe they're like death's messenger, like a psychopomp is actually the term. And so like that's what we were thinking is like, okay, these people are the last people to see these other people alive. You get the mark of a psychopomp, let's say.
In the Better Call Saul universe, blue means serenity, tranquility, calmness, side of law and order, whereas your darker, warmer colors like red and orange generally denote anger, danger, that kind of thing. So maybe the blue is, a sign of tranquility.
Yeah, or like some sort of peace.
That helicopter and that ham radio, it's all connected.
It's Heath.
By the way, she bangs on about this.
I've been flying
It's
his
all
neck
the
up
way
to the
through
whole
season 9
season.
too.
Heath is going to answer
Where
that.
can I land?
I'm standing firm that Heath and Sherry are coming back, and like Heath's going to be the one to answer that ham radio.
Heath, Sherry, and Laura just jump out of a chopper.
Just hanging out.
Sherry and Laura.
Yeah, we're just hanging out in the sky, where birds are.
I'm telling you, they're going to come in contact with some military operation that's going to answer on that ham radio that's responsible for that helicopter. I'm telling you, man. When I saw that ham radio, I was like, yes.
So like a minor time jump though, right? Like not like 5 years in the future.
I think 5 years.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah. I think 4 to 5 years, yeah. I don't think like something like 10 years or something like that. Nothing huge. But I would say, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that would make things a lot more interesting with Judith too.
Interesting.
By the way, yeah, no more baby actors to deal with.
Exactly.
No more poopy diapers.
Bang on.
Yeah. No, I totally think that's going to be the case. I think that radio, when I saw it, I was like, red flag. This thing is going to be useful.
Wow.
It's like when you play those video games. Did you ever play like Day of the Tentacle back in the day?
I played Maniac Mansion, but I never played its sequel.
Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things that like, you go into a room and there's stuff and you need to use it and it's there for a reason. That's this. That
You can't until later, until you get a piece.
Right, exactly. All the elements have to line up in order for you to use it. But I am telling you that ham radio will be used.
Yeah, like Eugene has that piece.
Eugene, that is Eugene's piece. Eugene needs to get to the house in order to play around and fix the ham radio, and then they'll make contact.
Right, you have to use another player, like in the game. The player with the expertise.
Exactly. It's the same thing.
Okay, I didn't know.
My nerd level just went up.
Yeah, I didn't know the Walking Dead was a pixel hunt game. So there you go. I'm enjoying this idea. Oh man.
So particularly, I want to point out the 5-year thing.
That was specifically why I picked this clip.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yep.
I don't know if that's comic knowledge or anything, but like...
There was a time jump in the comics, but I don't think it was 5 years. I think it was 3 years.
Wow. How she picked that exact number out of the hat, too.
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
I wish that they would do a little bit, and they did this with Lori. They had little moments where they brought Lori back throughout that season. Like, when he was having the vision, seeing Lori during when they were at the prison, when he was like hearing the phone ring. He was going.
Yeah, hearing the phone, seeing her
and all of that. I wish that they would have done a little bit of that, even sparingly. It doesn't have to beat you over the head, no pun intended. Oh.
I feel like that may end up happening, though, by the way.
I would...
Only because it's like a technique. It's only been applied once. It's like almost ethereal.
Yes.
And it's not something you typically see in the show. Like, we only saw it in this one moment of time. And I don't know if it's that they regretted using it in the first place.
I don't think it was a mistake for them to use it. I didn't think it was detrimental to the story. I thought it was fine. I think the phone thing kind of threw me off more. I'm like, okay, why does he keep going to answer the phone?
That was creepy.
That was creepy. the visions of Lori, though, like, I got it.
The phone thing actually made more sense to me than seeing
the visions.
Lori. Yeah, because that to me, first of all, it was the perfect thing to scare the crap out of you.
It was
at that
creepy,
moment.
Yeah.
And if Rick was going crazy, that would be it. Mm-hmm. Seeing Lori, that's a visual hallucination. That you have to sell that. That's a bridge too far, in my opinion. Okay. Alluding to a phone ringing and hearing a voice. I don't know about you, but I hear voices all the time.
Okay. Well,
obviously pirate voices.
Well, there you go.
Captain Kirk every now and again.
I see. Understand.
You have to brush your teeth before bed. So that sort of thing. But like seeing something. First of all, if you were seeing something, ooh.
Seeing the actual vision of the person. I mean, yeah, I get it, but I feel like I think that they've dragged this on for a while, that it would be a good reminder to kind of understand where Rick is coming from, what he's lost, and why he has this rage that he does. Because I think we've gone through almost 2 full seasons of this, and I think a lot of people are sort of like, "Oh God, Rick, calm down." You kind of forget,
well, because we're sick of it,
right? But I think you lose sight of where he's coming from, you know.
Yeah.
So I think
it's easy.
It's easy to lose sight of it. So I think if you had a moment, honestly, if they did something like that right now, and Glenn came on screen, that would be like a punch in my stomach. Like it really would. It would be like it would throw me completely off, and I would be like, "Oh God, I miss Glenn." You know, like you know,
they need to do something to dislodge Rick from his present path, like to really just jar his presence.
And it would be jarring for us as viewers too, to kind of see Glenn again, or even if it's like, I remember, I want to say I think it was season 4, the episode where Rick bit the throat out of the Claimer guy, Joe the Claimer.
Yeah.
Savage Rick.
Right.
That episode was intermixed with flashbacks of Rick having a conversation with Herschel about what it means to be like a good father and a good person in this world and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, right. This is after, we hadn't seen him in a while, and it was kind of like a scene apart from it wasn't like a replay.
No. It wasn't a replay. It was just sort of like a recollection of a conversation that he had with Herschel that we never really saw, but in this episode we did, and he's kind of rethinking about that in the light of having to now be this savage person, so different from the kind of person that he was discussing being with Herschel. And I think that technique worked well there. And I think if they did something like that, where Rick is contemplating things and he's thinking back to a conversation with Abraham or a conversation with Glenn or something, us as a viewer, that would be jarring, first of all, to just see Glenn and Abraham again. That would be like, whoa, number one. And number two, I think it would reinforce where his mindset is coming from, where his heart is coming from, why he's approaching things the way that he is, because these were 2 very, very important people in his life that he lost in a very violent and tragic way right in front of his eyes. So if they did something like that, I think that would be very, very effective.
You'd have to really be good at it.
It'd have to be well done, for sure.
That.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Otherwise, it's kind of like, first of all, bringing back something that, they've done already. And the second thing is really, it's kind of like using something out of left field to kind of bring the story back rather than something that's already on the board. So to me, that's almost like a cheat. Like, oh, you're bringing something in to kind of get the story back on track that we would have never seen coming, right? That, like things that aren't already on the playing field. So, which some people do in order to save the story. I'm skeptical if that's going to happen, only because it would be too jarring. It's like you're using this as kind of like a reset button. Oh, you only get to use these once every 4 seasons, and now it's the 8th season, so you can use it now. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, it would be.
I'm not saying no, but I'm saying that I'd be curious.
Yeah.
And I'd be gritting my teeth to see how they execute this, because it could turn off a lot of people too.
It could, but I don't think.
It was all a dream. What? And so, what do they do in the very next episode? Gavin, you know what it is. Like, I know, I don't know what it is, Gavin. I don't know what it is.
Can I be honest? I still don't know what it is. I think using the Lori ghost, like Carol said, just gave the viewers an idea of how freaking batshit crazy Rick was going.
Yeah.
So I guess if they're going to use ghosts, I'm not against it. I'm not. If it's for a purpose, I gotta go.
Thank you, Rachel. Sorry you couldn't stay on longer.
Bye, Rachel.
Bye, guys.
People have kind of utilized this environment to engage their inner fantasy selves.
Right, the desires, their deep hidden ones, where they thought they couldn't do it before in a freer world.
Right, exactly.
You know what? I figured out what Simon is, and if they show a flashback of this, I'll just soil myself, because
car salesman.
No. Even worse, meter maid.
Oh, God.
The mustache.
Oh.
The hat. Can you imagine it? The white hat.
I could. Oh, God. Ugh.
The snide comments, but not really like the fortitude to actually get into a fist fight.
Right. Oh, my God.
Doesn't that make the most sense?
It does. It does make sense.
An allegory is.
And here he is.
It's crazy. It's just thinking about it. It's the perfect backstory.
Yeah, it's always so interesting.
Who's got the pad now?
I love backstories. I'm like, I want to know.
Yeah, you need like our own.
Oh, I hate backstories.
Like the Morgan episode.
Oh, the one with Eastman, right?
Yeah, I really like that.
Here is not here, the famous flashback. But the thing about like that specific one though is that it's a flashback that happens within the same. It's not like pre-apocalypse flashback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why I was kind of like, well, even now that I'm thinking about it, even the Alpha one, that was actually after the fall or during the fall.
Yeah,
so
it was like right after.
I wish somebody fought me on that one too, because I was almost. I mean, I wasn't mad at it. I kind of let it go to move the story forward. But like, the one thing that somebody could have said to me was, "Oh, technically it's not pre-apocalypse, so it's okay." Abraham's flashback, that was also post the fall. I was about to like complain about that as well.
Something that I'm really glad they didn't do when Negan was in the cell.
Yes.
They did not give us a pre-apocalypse flashback of
Yes. Yes, you're the only one. You're the only one. I keep fighting. I don't fight people. Again, I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. But I always kind of throw like, but do we need a Negan flashback? Like a Here's Negan flashback? Do we?
No. What I love is that
why is he the exception?
Yeah, instead of a flashback, they let us know who he was or how he was before, something he would say, or like talking to Judith or to Gabriel, and when he's like with Maggie and she's going there to kill him, instead of giving us like a hallucination of Lucille, just like a Lucille,
right? Like Laurie,
like Laurie. I was afraid that they were gonna do that, but they didn't, and
I'm so glad.
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear that Negan is an asshole, so I don't think
he doesn't deserve it.
I mean, we don't need to see that beforehand because it's been made perfectly clear on the show.
I think it's the difficulty in having so many characters in the show. It's the Game of Thrones effect.
I was going to say, it's very Game of Thrones. Although I hear that Game of Thrones does a pretty good job of balancing all these different stories. I don't know, because I don't really like Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, when you kill off so many people, right? So eventually you wind up with a few that you can follow.
That is true. That is definitely true.
That's an easy way to solve that problem.
A lot of people have suggested, hey, Joe, you need to clean house, especially for characters who their development has been non-existent.
But yeah, no, the idea of like killing people off. Now, here's the thing. Rachel picked the one clip out of this episode where I don't look like a complete stark raving lunatic. 13-1. I'm not saying it's controversial. The idea is that what is going to turn the tide? 13 episodes later, where we thought we were going to get some sort of upswing, we just kept getting beaten down. We get back up, we get beaten down. We get back up, we get beaten down again. I thought we got that in season 7. So 13-1, it came to me in a revelation. I said, oh, I get it. I know why Negan is starting to get more aggressive with these guys. He's dying. And he knows that his top-down leadership, where only he can be in charge, if he goes away, the Saviors Project is over. And so he needs to destroy these people before that happens. If he's dying, there's an urgency. Negan's dying, Carol! That's what's going to happen! Oh my god, I'm a genius! No.
I mean, it's not a bad theory.
Alright, let's move on to the next one. Because we're getting close to the end.
The actor that plays Eugene, when he's just talking normally,
he just sounds like this.
He's like such a normal, just happy guy, and like
Josh McDermott.
I was also on Twitter, and I saw like the Twitter account of the guy who plays Jared, who was obviously savagely and brutally killed.
Josh McHale, yeah.
Josh Michael.
And he seems like such a cool guy, and I'm like, man.
He's so cute.
And I'm like, dang, man. Like,
it's so hard to hate you.
Like, you it's so funny. It's like you look at people's feeds and you're like, oh, you seem like a cool person. And it's like, man, but you are a really convincing douche.
Yeah, and it's not even that he's like a cool person. He's like cute. Like, not like in a, like, oh, he's so cute. No, he's like, how are you this adorable?
Yeah, he seems like a nice person, like
so
just kind of like funny, like quirky, kind of funny, like just sort of like silly, like a silly person, like a silly kind of personality, which is obviously so different from this Jared.
Humongous douche.
Yes. Shitty Jared.
that everybody's been waiting for like a very horrible death to befall this character, and it did.
Yeah. If you go to Cameo.com and you check out all his videos, oh my god. It's this treasure trove of awesomeness. Josh Michael is just like this silly human being.
You know, Eugene notices
Pull
that
the
some of the
ripcord.
bullets that he's producing are defective. They have like a ding, kind of like they're dinged up a little bit, like they kind of did a close-up or something like they
Well,
were.
actually, yeah, specifically, though, it was basically where the trigger hits the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
When it does, and it's flush, the bullet will fly through, right?
Right.
It hits the gunpowder sparks a thing. It sparks a thing. Okay, it's a thing.
It's fine. We're not ammo experts.
The firing pin, Dave.
It
The firing
lights up the
pin.
gunpowder in the back. That burns up and propels the bullet forward, right? So
Okay.
if what Gabriel was doing is he was not making the back part where the trigger hits it flush.
And that
He was-
basically would throw it off.
Not only, see, and what Eugene was trying to say is that not only would it throw it off, but you could have killed a savior, basically.
It would backfire completely.
Yeah, it not only would not work, it would like explode in the person's hand, and you would have hurt somebody. You would have taken a hand off, let's say. And so Eugene was basically saying, he was basically trying to get into Gabriel's head, saying, "You really don't want this, do you? You know, you're not that kind of person, are you?"
Right.
And so I thought that was clever. I don't know if that. Look, I don't know my guns. I don't know my bullets.
No, me neither.
But I'll take Eugene's word for it in light of my lack of knowledge.
Sounded convincing to me.
That was a new genius move.
Yes, Eugenius. We wrote off both characters. Oh, this guy's a coward, obviously, because he went to the Saviors. And we also wrote off Gabriel because we always see Gabriel as the person who locked out his parishioners. Like, first of all, that Eugene, first of all, saved the day by the end of it. And then also Gabriel, like later on, season 9, takes on this like new courage and charisma. In season 10, oh, hot for preacher. Oh, lordy lord. To illustrate the point, it's just like, do you go so far, Gabriel, as to kill people? Is that who you are?
I mean, I try to like Gabriel, but I just can't like him. I just can't.
You're definitely in the majority, I guess.
I like his relationship with Rosita. I really like it.
I don't get it.
That's interesting.
I don't get it either, but I like it. Like, I don't know. She seems really happy, and I'd rather have Rosita with me, but sure. Wants to be with Gabe. I accept that.
Which, by the way, now that we compare both Gabriel and Eugene as like these written off characters, it kind of actually, like, I hadn't occurred to me until just now, kind of makes sense that they ended up together, because in the comic books, Eugene and Rosita end up being together, right? And so if you can't be with Eugene because of Stephanie, and because Rosita dies in the comic, considering Gabriel, it kind of makes sense. This is another kind of written off character that now can have this interesting second life. By the way, who gets the most action on The Walking Dead, by the way?
Because women love a man in uniform, and he's the only one that's got one left.
Amen.
That's true. Let's remember that it's the apocalypse. There's not that many people. So Rosita wants to be with someone. Well, here is Gabriel.
Enter the father. Not the father.
Yeah, father, not father.
Yeah.
Genius line.
I mean, look. I mean, you go from Sadiq to Gabriel.
Abraham, Spencer, Sadiq, Gabriel.
And
Oh, so she got the most game in The Walking Dead.
For some reason, she had put her thing with Glenn aside so that she could take care of the bigger community.
Right,
this is the
right.
last one.
And she did it well. There was a need there that she filled on the immediate, to the point where she did it so well that she has even Jesus on her side when they're talking about mutiny at some point. You know, at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It seals the deal on what we all thought, how she was feeling, what she was going through. But when that moment happened, when she started sobbing and started just going crazy, you know, it's not over till he's dead. No.
Yeah.
That whole thing, my God, my hand went right to my mouth. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
We didn't know that she was in the worst shape.
Yeah.
We had
Because
no idea.
that was a very visceral reaction.
Like
Yeah.
between Morgan and Rick and Carol and Zeke and
Yeah.
she had it the worst.
She had it the worst. Yeah. So I mean, I believed it. I believed it.
I was a total surprise to me.
I was surprised in the sense that she's been very stoic for most of this, you know. And I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, of course. It just came out of nowhere for me.
But the reaction, the visceral reaction, just took me, you know, by surprise. And when she mentioned, you know, about Glenn, I was like, oh God, yeah,
yeah. But it's the things that she said, like things that
she said.
It's not over till he's dead. No.
Yeah. If you think about it this way, to kind of put it in perspective, Think about it from the point of view of somebody who commits a crime and kills your relative or your husband or your parents or your child. Oh my God. Any of these people. And this person is deemed to be allowed to live or God forbid, live free, and it's out of your hands, and this person has made this decision, or the system has made this decision, and you feel like justice hasn't been served in relation to your loved one, that's no longer here. And that is hard. That is a very hard pill to swallow. And from Maggie's place, like, she's probably looking at it like, who is Rick to make this decision and say that this person's allowed to live?
Yeah, Rick and Michonne.
Rick and Michonne, yeah. I understand.
It is kind of like the bait and switch, because now that we have this like really interesting 50,000 foot view, with all of our frustration with Rick, the bait and switch is, okay, you get to the end and Rick is kind of like conjuring up the image of Carl and saying, but there's got to be something for after, right? And then all of a sudden, from left field is Rick number 2, Revenge of Rick. And then like Maggie goes ham. Oh shit, she had the same drive to end Negan, and it just devastates you.
Let's say if Negan had killed Carl, would he have let Negan leave? I think the answer is pretty clear, and it's no.
I can see both sides. I can see Maggie's side, but I can also see Rick's side, because Morgan says kind of the same thing in Fear the Walking Dead when he saves Charlie. She's like, why did you save me? You know what I did. I killed Nick. And he's like, but this has to stop somewhere. You can't just keep killing each other back and forth. And I think that's kind of where Rick was at, too. This has to stop somewhere. We can't just keep killing people. And it just keeps, they kill us and then we kill them. So why don't we stop here? Maybe we can do something with this guy to show everybody that it can be done. People can change. And you don't have to go out and kill everybody.
Right.
It's not about saving Negan or, letting Negan leave. It's about everyone that follow him. If we have to stop somewhere, then Negan is the perfect place to stop. He would be the biggest example
of somebody that we would typically murder or murk or get out of the picture, right? As all things end, so ends our coverage of season 8. For those of you who will get the unedited copies, you'll see where it ends and where this begins. You'll get the behind the scenes content. How do you get this? Well, if you support us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead for less than price of the cup of coffee, you can get 30 days of access. And if you subscribe to a coffee a month at least, the party will keep on going. You'll get access to unedited materials like this episode to hear all the behind the scenes, what happened, how did this happen, and obviously you'll be in the know with core things that we're planning on doing and giveaways and all that stuff. And also rate this podcast. Ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars in the next plan is all we need. Tell us how much you love us. But if you like to, you can add some more. It really helps the podcast grow. It actually puts us on the boards, at least in Australia, as I've found out, in the TV and film category. We were in the top 100, and then we keep getting thrown down 44 points, and then we come back up on the charts. We don't know. But Australia loves us. Anyway, obviously the next part of the series, we're talking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. With that, my friends, thank you for joining us, and we hope you like the series and this little retrospective on The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead as we've covered them across the years. And if you do end up supporting us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead, you will have access to the playlist, the actual playlist of all our clips, all the ones that we've ever made and all the ones that we made especially for this episode, which, Nisa and Sharon have been able to enjoy right now. And so once you get access to that, you can actually pin it to your own playlists. You'll have access to it whenever you want to. It's unlisted, but you can have access to it whenever you want to. Take care, y'all. See you soon.
Bye.
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 Take care, guys.